There's been a large turnaround in the senior management over the last 18 months. The My Dentist team have now been in place for over a year and should now be settled, whilst the changes in dental directory have been more recent and they won't have their full impact yet. Should stress that My Dentist has a strong foundation in place, all practices meeting regulatory standards for being awarded notable status by the CQC, which is very rare. They've also been the only dental company to receive external health and safety awards from ROSPA. They also offer training to all staff, both virtually online, but also hands-on courses through their purpose-built academy in Manchester. Looking forward, there's two important factors to consider. Firstly, PDS contracts. So the majority of orthodontic contracts are set to be re-tendered, and as I mentioned, 5% of My Dentist practices are orthodontic practices. This offers both a potential risk but also gain, as margins may be reduced as they re-tender or actually contracts lost, but also there could be upside if My Dentist could win additional contracts. And the majority will be re-tendered throughout this year. Secondly, the most important part is around the Brexit deal, and this will be important due to obviously currently having reliance on EU dentists, and both those currently working for the company, but also the future attraction and joining and from new joiners from the EU to the UK. And obviously that will depend on the government's deal that they make. Secondly, dental directory profits are linked to the value of sterling, and due to the importing of 50% of their materials and equipment. Any questions?
So in terms of the recruitment developments they've kind of been focusing on, they've spent money to try and bring in dentists, and they have announced that a decent chunk of dentists. Just remind me, what was the number of dentists? Did you say 93 or something?
It was 95 clinicians started during the first quarter of this year.
And that's versus
how many of those are full or part-time?
Full or part-time. But how many is that? How many of that is versus the 2017 total base?
So that will be in addition to that. So at the end of in their annual report, they specified a number of additional joiners, resulting in, I think it was 345,000 additional UDAs were contracted out. So if a UDA is contracted out, it means they have given it to a dentist to perform. It doesn't mean that that dentist is going to perform it.
Sure.
But it's a good general trend, though, if they're contracting out, I would say, at the right levels. It's a good way of actually looking at the number of dentists that they've actually got working for them, especially as some will only be working 1 or 2 days or full-time. So they did see an increase at the end of the 2017-18 year of contracted UDAs. Mm. So you should see, if that's continued, you should see in the Q2 report that the number of UDAs delivered will have increased from last year.
Okay, well that's certainly positive. And then how do they continue to improve that, right? And I guess the risk is going to be that just putting Brexit aside, because I think there's probably multiple scenarios that can develop from there, and I think it's very hard to hone in on the view there. But how do they develop from here in terms of do they have additional dentists in the pipeline, or are we kind of relying on a new cycle of university students, people going into dentistry, or what actually will help develop it?
Okay, so they did announce in the last bond report they had 320 dentists waiting. What that means is they've got 320 dentists that have identified they want to join them. Now, if they are from the EU,